Hang on one quick sec. I want to, all right, make sure that I was recording. So thank you for joining us today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Melissa Lee. I'm the secretary of the West Valley Homeschool Foundation, which is the parent group of the West Valley Homeschool Social Network. First things first, I want you to know that this session is being recorded. Our goal is to have as many of these show and tell events happen live so that people can ask questions, but then to record it and have it posted in the group so that people who can't join us live have the opportunity to see it later. So know that it's being recorded. If that means you need to keep kids away from the camera for privacy or whatever, just know that that's what's happening. And so our goal here is that initially we wanted to have a curriculum fair of some sort this spring, but obviously that was impossible to do. And the homeschool convention is canceled. But the convention, I always found a little bit weird to look at curriculum because it's being presented to you by vendors, by people who want you to buy it. And I have always found it much easier and much more helpful to just talk to other moms about what they're using. And there have been times at Park Days where people brought their curriculum, brought their instructor guides and books and other things so that other moms could physically look at it and talk to you about how it works. And that has been, for me, and I know for some other friends, really, really helpful. So that is our goal with this series of show and tell events. This is our first one, so it's a little bit of an experiment. We ask that you keep your computer on mute. If you have a question for Meggan, just like physically raise your hand and she'll stop and then unmute yourself and ask your question. Also, while people are, if you haven't used Zoom a lot, it might be best if you find the toggle for speaker view versus gallery view and put it on speaker view. Then when Meggan is talking, she will take up your entire screen. So when she is showing you things, it'll take up your entire screen instead of her teeny tiny tile in there. That is it for my intro. So I am going to turn it over to Meggan.
Okay, hi, so my name's Meggan, and I have 6 kids, but I'm only homeschooling the littlest 2. So last year was our first year homeschooling, and as I was telling Melissa, we kind of used a combination of a whole bunch of different ones. I picked different curriculum for different subjects, but at the end of the year, I asked my kids which was their favorite, and they said the good and the beautiful, and that one was also my favorite. So this year I went with more good and beautiful subjects. So we had tried out a Becca master book, so a few of the different ones, and I still like those, and I'm actually going to use some master books this year, but most of what I'm going to use is just the good and the beautiful. So one of the things Melissa asked me to talk about is how you place the kids, and online on their site they do have something that you could go in and there's placement tests, and I felt like my kids coming, they used to go to a private school and they used a Becca. I thought that it was pretty grade level, but other moms said that it was not, that they felt like each level went through 1.5 years. So you might want to go down, like if your kid's in 3rd grade, you might want to look into level 2. It happened to be that my kids kind of fell right where they needed to be in the level. Of course, you're going to see everybody come out of their rooms now that I'm on here because I have a full house. So I did place my kid that was going into 1st grade in level 1, and then I placed my kid that was going into 3rd grade in level 3. So this year is a 2nd year. So I placed my 2nd grader in level 2. So this is the language arts, and I placed my 4th grader in level 4. Okay, so also she had said, how does it work with multiple grades? So what they do for multiple grades is you do science and history together, and then you break off for language arts and math. And to be honest, last year, I really didn't do a lot of we started off like gung-ho, and I was doing like science, and I was going to be doing science more often than I ended up doing it. Because by the time we got done like language arts, Bible, math, we were just done. So I didn't even get to history last year, but I'll show you the history. So this is something that we would do together. And this year I was more realistic, and I just printed out one of the little units and put it in here. So I'm only going to do part of it. I'm not going to do, I'm not going to have the expectation of doing the whole book. So I just printed out the first quarter, and I'm just going to try to get that done this year. And then now my phone's ringing, so people are going to be on the phone too. And I like the history because it has a game, so you do this as a group. And then, like I said, you would do the language arts separate, unless I wish that I could put my kids together. They have a similar reading level, but my son that's going into 2nd grade doesn't have the fine motor skills to go into the next book. Okay, so I'll show you inside the book. Okay. All right, let me show you first. Okay, so this is 2nd grade, level 2. What I really like about it is that aesthetically, I really like the colors that it uses. They have a lot of art things that they talk about with the kids. I also I noticed that a lot of the curriculum had 180 lessons. And for me, that's a lot, like 180 school days. I know that's what the public school does. And, but even the private school I used to work at, we didn't even do 180 school days. So I really like that this only has 120. I feel like that's a more realistic. So the final project is less than 120. So you got to know, like, are you going to be, I think 180 lessons is 30, I don't know the numbers are in my head, but I'm pretty sure it's like 5 days a week for 36 weeks. That's a lot. I was doing more of a 4-day school week so that we could like go to the park day, or we could go do different things, or if we had doctor appointments. So this worked out better, the 120 lessons for our family. So the lessons are longer though, so that may not work for people. Also level K through, so kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade is like really period intensive. Like you have to sit there with them the entire time, which that's what my kids liked about it. And at the end, I liked it too, because it kept me accountable, but the kid cannot do it independently, because basically I'll give you an example, like it's telling you what to do. So like it says, read to the child. Well, the child would probably not even be able to read this on their own. So you have to go through and do everything with them. You cannot just hand them this book and say, okay, we'll do your lesson. You have to do it with them. And so I do like that, but so it's my favorite thing about the curriculum, and it's my least favorite thing about the curriculum, because some days like it would be really nice to say, okay, go do math or go do language arts, and you can't. So it is nice, and I really like that. But some days I don't really like that. So it's like the pro and the con of this curriculum.
Hey, Megan,
yeah.
Is the entirety of the Good and Beautiful based on 120 days, or just, okay.
So like I looked up, this is the 4th grade language art. So this one also had 120 lessons. So they're both, they're pretty close to that. So it's not, but they're longer. Right. So it's probably the same amount of work. Like when my daughter did master book, she did the 180 lesson math, and she finished actually quicker than my son finished the 120 Good and Beautiful math.
Okay.
So you're just going faster because the lessons are so quicker in there. So I think you got to know what works for you. Like, do you want to do a lot of little lessons, or do you want to do fewer bigger ones? I'd rather do fewer bigger ones, because then it just frees up more days. And then it kind of works in my mind, like if we get this done, like I have to have something to keep me accountable. Like I know a lot of people said, oh, you don't have to finish the book. Well, I wanted to finish the language arts and math, or else I feel like they didn't finish the grade. I don't know, like, and I know that some people like don't want to keep their kid grade level, but I may at some point have to put my kids back in school. So I need to keep them grade level in case they need to ever go back to school. But so what I like about this curriculum is that it's different every day. So you don't know when you open it up, you don't know, are you going to do an art lesson? Are you going to do a geography lesson? Are you going to be doing poetry, phonics? So I really like that about it. And I like how it looks. I know it's not important to some people, but like to me and my daughter, we like when things look nice. My son doesn't care, but I like that it's grade level. And also another thing I really like about it is it does speak about God, but it doesn't speak about doctrine, if that makes sense. Like they want you to be able to teach your kids your doctrine. Like someone that was Mormon could use this, someone that was a secular family could use it, because it's talking about God in general. It's not like going into doctrine. So like I'm adding a Bible on top of it, but I could definitely see like even a non-Christian family using this. It's actually a Mormon company. So, and I'm using it as a Christian. I know that's kind of controversial, but I went through it all year and I didn't see anything because it is so general. A lot of different religions could use it. And so the other thing I really like about it, and all the readers, like here's an example, here's some of the readers. They're also really nice too. I really like the theme in a lot of them it is about God, but like I said, the general, it's very general. But a lot of the big theme that they push is like appreciation for little things, like for nature, for little things in the day that would make you happy. And I really like that, especially since I have older kids. And I think that watching them grow up, like being happy with those real little simple things is important. And it really pushes that. And it really pushes appreciation for family. Like sometimes it's pushing it so hard, I have to try not to laugh. Like the sentence that I'll say is like, my mom is very smart and kind. Like that's the sentence they have to, I don't know if that's like a specific one, but I'll give you an example. Like I have to just start laughing. I mean, or I should listen to my mom. That's what they have to like copy. And I really like that because, I mean, I just think that reinforces, it's not me saying that I'm smart or whatever, it's the book saying it. So I do like that. The things that I don't like about it is that sometimes, like I said, it's long and you have to sit there with them. Another part, I got a really artsy girl, so she likes the artsy part. I'm trying to find a picture, but like doing it with a little boy every day, they, on art, they want you to see, trying to find an example, like how it makes you feel. Like like for example, they'd have this and it'd say, how does this painting make you feel? Well, every single day that we did it, I'd ask my boy how it made him feel, and he would say, the painting makes him feel what? Nothing. So that's what we would do. So he would say it makes him feel nothing, and then it would want, so he never came up with a way that the art made him feel ever. So I think like if you have, and I'm still doing it with them because I think it's important to still talk about feelings, or at least even though if he doesn't come up with something, just to think about the word feeling, even because I don't even know if he thinks about it. So that's something that if your kid like is older and they really hate artsy things, you just got to think about that, like for this.
Is it possible to just skip that? Or is it so integrated into the lesson that you can't?
It's pretty integrated. Like they're going to do questions on it. They are pushing the art big time. Like for example, the lesson is this, it'll be like do an adjective in this. So the lesson's kind of all referring back to this. So I think it'll work with littler boys, but like 4th, 5th grade boys, they may not be feeling that. Now my daughter is going into the fourth grade one, and this one you start doing by yourself for after the first 15 minutes. So you do the first 15 minutes with your mom, and then you do, or your teacher. So you would do this part, and then you would do your own, and then it has like a story that they read, and then they have to answer questions about. So this is more independent once it hits fourth grade. And I really like the stories, like I said, because they're just simple. A lot of them are really old. There's like nothing in them that would be questionable. Because like I go to the, like even when I go to the library, like I notice all the books, most of them are about magic and all this stuff. And I don't like oppose magic, but it's just all of the stuff is about magic and powers, and like it's just not about simple everyday life. So I do like those stories. So you do a lesson in there, and then you come into here, and this is the creative companion. So this is the writing, art, and geography. So the other one's like the spelling and the phonics. So you do this, and then you come in here and you do a lesson in this. So she like is really looking forward to this because she really likes art. So it's art lessons. It's a lot of geography. Like she could probably, from last year, like label all of Europe. It was very intense. She knows more about geography than I do at this point. And then they have a lot, like in the fourth grade, you focus on pastels. So it's like art lessons. So they do a lot of that stuff. And then they also have, you go through these geography cards. I haven't separated them yet, but here it is. Then it shows what state. So it's a big push on geography, this curriculum is. So are there any questions about the language arts? Okay, I'm gonna go on to math then. To take a drink, but. Hey, so Good and Beautiful math only goes to third grade because every year they're doing it. So my daughter is like right behind. So this year they dropped a third grade curriculum, but she's in fourth grade. So I don't know about the third grade one yet, but my son did the first grade one last year, and it's really, really heavy on like manipulatives. So you get a case like this, and inside comes all the manipulatives. So I took them out of this box because I was fiddling with the manipulatives all the time, and I kind of organized them. But here's some of the manipulatives that came in that box. So it's like little these, a clock. Every session you use like different, like they would use, like they did everything based on eggs and marbles and seashells. Game pieces, because there's tons of games. And they also do a lot of tanagrams, which escalated very quickly to the point where I couldn't do some of them. So I don't know if you know, so there's tanagrams every couple of days that they do. And this is why my son loves this. There's lots of games. So this is why he loves this curriculum. So, so about every other day, there's a game in the curriculum, and it is optional. And a lot of times I didn't want to do it, but I realized that that's why he liked this. But you don't have to do it. But the reason why he really liked math and his favorite subject is because he liked the game. But again, they cannot do it by themselves. So I'll show you the book. Okay, so this is the second grade one. All this stuff. So here's lesson 1. And so, let's see. Actually, this is the beginning. So again, you could see all the blue is what you'd be reading as a parent. So they can't do it by themselves. So every day they would do the daily dose. This one's really long because it's kind of explaining. So this isn't a good example.
So that book is both an instructor guide and workbook.
Yeah, so there's no teacher guide. So basically what you're going to say is in the blue, and then, so you're going to be teaching as you go along in this book. So they would do the daily dose right here. They can do that by themselves, but it doesn't take them very long to do it. They're done in like 3 minutes and you got to help them again. So they do that by themselves. And then, so then the teaching's right in there with the worksheets. Now, what I noticed about this is, I mean, he really did understand the concepts because they hit it every way, like for all the different learners, like a visual learner, an audio learner. I mean, they are pounding it every different way that you can do it. I mean, and for my son, and I think for all my kids in general, like they're math minded, so he probably doesn't need to be pounded every different way with it. And I think it's sometimes overkill on the review, but I kept with it because he said it was his favorite subject. So I'm like, why am I going to change it if he gets it? But one thing that I did supplement this to is just memorization. Like, I don't know if you guys know what Math Minute is. That's what teachers use. And I just supplemented that. I did the Math Minute where it's just like the facts and you got to write them down really fast, because I don't think it has enough of the facts that you're going to like be able to memorize them like this. And then my mom came down and she was visiting for a couple of days and she was doing it. And I didn't even say anything to her. And she was like, I think you need to do some like memorization, like flashcards or speed drills or something to add to this. So that's that. And I'll just show you a few of the extra things and then I'm about done. Here's some of the extra things they got going on. So they have handwriting. So the old levels used to be way off, but then they redid them. So this is level 3 and they weren't, I'm not gonna show you this one because this one's not the new one. Here's the level 4. So they kind of did this thing where they have like these dots that you have to follow. I don't know if you could see them, like the rainbow dots. So I thought that was a good idea. I had never seen that before. So that's what they do in their new one for handwriting. And then they also have typing, which I had originally just got this so that my daughter would have something to do when I worked with my son, just kind of as a filler, but she ended up really liking it. Like she would just do it on her own. And then here's a nature notebook, which would probably be better if we were at some place where the seasons change, but we're not. But so we just kind of went through, did the ones that we could do. Again, they would kind of grab this on their own and go do it. I got both of them it. Yep, so I don't know if there's any more. Oh, and then this is something for math too, this musical multiplication. This is pretty neat. So she had wrote all these songs and then you listen to the song and then you have the facts. So this was something that they'd used it kind of for memorization that I did like for they don't have anything like this for the addition and subtraction though, so that's why I supplemented. But I think that's it for now, unless anyone has any questions.
So do you, let's say you have a kid who is kind of asynchronous, right? Like can handle a like history lessons that are above grade level, but then like we were chatting about before everyone got on, but then like physically can't handle the language arts lessons that would be above grade level, even if they can comprehend them, like physically can't do the work because you're asking an 8-year-old to be doing something meant for 12-year-olds. Do you think, like, how could you handle that in the good and the beautiful? Is it sold in such a way that you could do level 3 language arts, but level 5 history?
Yeah. So you can, like, actually the history that says it goes all the way up. I don't know if anyone's familiar with Gather Round, where everyone reads out of the same book, but then it has different everyone basically has different workbooks to work out of for their level. So even though, let's say your kid is 8 and he would maybe be in 1st through 3rd grade, if you felt like it, he could just move up to the 4th through 6th workbook, whichever one you felt like. And then, yeah, so you could buy different levels for different subjects. Yep, and I think that you'd be able to kind of adapt it for the group subjects too. You would just, because you have access, okay, like, I don't know if this makes sense. So for history, you have access for all the notebooks K through 12. So you could choose which one you'd want your kid to do. Like I even did that for wisdoms, like some of the, so I like made her my own, like I printed out some of Blaze's and put in there. And then I printed out some of the harder ones because I felt like she was going to do it. So I kind of customized her little history notebook. You know, so, but beside that, I really like it. You could see like this year I went with mostly the good and the beautiful. Like that's how much I liked it. And I like not knowing what you're going to, I know like some people like knowing exactly what they're going to do. And I just get bored with that. I don't know if my kids do, but it didn't really matter because I did. So I like opening up the page and not knowing what's going to happen that day. But another thing is you don't know how long the lesson's going to be that day. So let's say you have 4 kids that you have to work with. I would not like that. I only have the 1 kid that I have to work with because last year I had to work with 2. But I think any more than 2, you kind of want to know exactly what you're going to be doing that day, or else school will just get too long. So.
But that also means it doesn't require a lot of prep because it's just open and go.
Yeah, you don't do any prep. So I never look at it. It's just right there and it just explains it as you're going. Yep, so that is good. And there's no, I don't look at the lesson the night before. I don't have to look at it before. And I did add added a Bible curriculum to the BGU Press. Now that one looks like I am going to have to look at it before I go in and teach it, or I'm going to be confused because you're teaching it. So. And I see someone said, did I use the science? I did not use the science. I really liked the look of it. I felt like last year for 1st grade and 4th grade, it was 1st and 3rd grade, I felt like it was going to be over my 1st grader's head. So I used, I'll show you what I used for science. I'm going to use it again. I used this for science last year for master books because looking through it, I felt like this kind of met them more where we're at. See, this is his work. That's why we can't go into the higher book because we can't write. But I felt like this was more where they were at last year. So I got more realistic this year, and I took a little unit out and I spiraled it myself. So we're only going to do a little unit. And then if we want to, we could do more, but this was just too much. 180 lessons of science was just too much. But I still like it and I'm going to use it this year. Hey there. Now, if there's any more questions, but you can't stand right behind me. You could say hi and then you have to go.
If anybody else has a question, you can either pop it in the chat or just unmute yourself and have at it.
Okay. Well, and I hope I covered it all. I really like it.
Great. Well, thank you for doing this. I know people have said really nice stuff about the good and the beautiful before, but actually seeing it is really, really helpful. And I'm grateful for your insight too, and your honesty that it's not perfect, but your family really likes it and that you got us through the good and the not so great stuff. So I really appreciate that. This video is going to live, it's going to be posted eventually in the WVHSN group. So if you end up having questions, you can post them there, or I assume that Meggan would be fine if you just got in touch with her directly if you had additional questions.
Yep. Yep, I'm happy to talk homeschool. Like I told Melissa, I've been trying to talk with my older teenagers about it, and my husband, they don't want to talk about homeschool. So if anyone wants to talk homeschool, I'd love to.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was great to see you. And everybody else, thank you for joining. We appreciate it. And take a look in the group in the events tab, because we have like 5 or 6 more scheduled right now, including one tomorrow morning and going out a few weeks. But those ones, if you can't make it at the time that they're live, those ones will be recorded and posted as well. And great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you very much.
Everybody have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.